Hello and welcome. Are you there,
Welcome,
Maddie?
Facebook. I'm here. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining in with us today. Kind of an impromptu live. We usually will schedule these a little further in advance, but thank you so much for joining in with us today and sharing your Saturday with Tamara and I.
Yes, absolutely.
Today we wanted to talk about honoring yourself in your relationships. We brought this up a little bit earlier on in the week, and some people had questions about it and wanted to go a little bit further. And I felt like rather than texting about it, it'd be so much better to do a live and talk about what that even means to really honor yourself and putting your needs first in a relationship. Because so many times we're taught to do the opposite. You put the other day, that's what prompted this feed today. There was an article about love, and it said love is selfless. So what that means is you need to put your partner's needs above your own. And I was like, oh my gosh, all the bad information about relationships, and that one kills me. That one's like the worst relationship advice ever, because we put other people's needs before our own, and then at the end of the relationship we're feeling so completely lost and disconnected from ourselves, therefore feeling disconnected from our partners, and that is not love.
Absolutely. It's a very disconnected story we've been telling over time to put our needs instead of really valuing how we show up. Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you guys have questions during this feed, please feel free to type the questions. There is a little bit of delay on this particular app, so if we don't answer them right away, it just hasn't popped up on our screen. So we will questions, because we really do want to clarify and help you get through any issues that you may be having in your relationships. But first, we'll start with saying, what does it even mean to put your needs first? Because our whole entire lives, we give so much to others, and then we put our needs on the back burner. So most of you are probably like, what the hell does that even look like? Like, that makes no sense, because nobody's told us that before, right? So what does that look like? So Tamara, you go first. What does that look like to you in your mind? What does that look like to put your needs first?
Well, for me, I first have to know my wants and needs. So I have to sit in a space where who I am before I go into a relationship. So it's very important for me to first have done a lot of my personal work, show up fully in a relationship. So that's a very big part of connection with other people, because otherwise you will put your thoughts and your needs to the back burner, because you won't understand that that is something that's not selfish. And so you'll end up trying to put yourself in someone else based on what they're telling you think they want, or what you think they need, because you don't have a sense of who you are. So you get lost in that little game of trying to please someone else, instead of knowing that you're here in a relationship to connect, to have a deeper space. That's the way I think of it. I think of it always being in a space where if I feel comfortable to be fully who I am, then I can meet that person with their attachments or their wants and needs, and be able to have a perfect balance going.
Yeah, and that's like number one, you have to be really clear about what you want in the first place. So many of us are not clear about what it is that we want. And when I talk to my clients about clear, I'm talking about like being absolutely specific and clear on what you want, because how
Right.
the law of attraction works, and this is how I work, is through the law of attraction, because it's universal law works, is it works with specifics. So when we send messages out there and we're not clear on our message, we just get a whole bunch of stuff at us, and we have no idea why we're getting all this stuff back, because we're confused as to what it is we're asking for. So if you don't even know your needs or your wants, you're going to get a whole bunch of shit at you that you aren't asking for, or you're asking for, but you're not sure you're asking for it. So being
You're
clear,
being forced. Mm-hmm.
yeah, you have to be clear. That's number one. And when I say clear about relationships too, because some people, when I talk to clients in the beginning about it, well, I'm really attracted to brunettes, or I want somebody with blue eyes. Like, no, that is definitely not what I'm asking for.
It's not wants and needs.
Total
That's the shell package.
Yeah, get a stud, because believe me, that happened to me.
That's the stud factor, right?
But oh shit, that's not what I was looking for. You know, on the outside, that's what I was looking for, but on the inside, not quite so much. So that's definitely not what I mean by being specific.
Yeah, it's more, this is definitely more about understanding what brings you the best version of yourself. What pulls the best of you out is having someone you're safe to be fully expressed with. But if you don't know yourself, then you can't connect to that part of you in that experience. So I find it very difficult. Like, a lot of my clients express this feeling of, I can be goofy, I can be playful, I can be expressive, but then I'll say something and it will catch him off guard and he won't know what to do with it. It's because there's pieces of you that you're not safe with. So it triggers the other person into having a difficult time feeling safe. So it's about being safe with yourself and allowing yourself to be in the flow of it and accepting that.
Yeah, and when we're not in a relationship, because mostly who I deal with are singles. Well, that's what my business is built around, in singles. And so the one thing that I always teach is embracing the void. You know, when you're in lack of a relationship, I don't like to use the word lack, but people connect with it. So when you don't have a relationship, this is the perfect time for you to get clear about what you want in a future relationship. Even if you're not currently looking for a relationship, you know, like, hey, I'm super cool being single. That's awesome.
But you still are in a relationship. You're in a deep relationship with yourself. I know that sounds really cheesy and probably, you know, uncomfortable, but the truth is, the best relationship you have is the one with yourself. And that is essentially that time to reflect and collect and understand who you are so that you can have a deeper connection with someone else. So I hear you. I think that this is the most magnificent time.
It is the greatest time, because the thing is, you know, when you meet like really amazing couples, and this happened for me as well, you know, when I was out searching for a relationship every night, you know, going to the bar, being online dating and doing all that, I got nothing back. And I was searching for something, but not realizing what I was searching for was the answers in here. And I was looking to feel that from somebody else. But when I got really clear about, look, I don't want a man in my life, I'm super cool, and I got really happy with myself, that's when my partner showed up and slapped me in the face, because my soul finally said, now you're ready for it.
I also, you know, you brought up a point that I'm going to kind of derail us just for a minute. You brought up something that I find very fascinating. You know, you hear a lot of the times, we talked about this in the past, where men are the hunters and the women are, you know, more in that I don't know, like I don't want to say submissive, but like they're to be hunted. But then you have like mixed confusing messages out there, like we've talked before about, and keep them, you know, that one that you and I were like, oh, really? And I was having a really fun conversation with a gentleman one day, and he was like, well, I don't even think we should be hunting. I don't even think we should be chasing each other. I think we should be meeting each other in the middle. But oh my gosh, be still my heart. Yes, exactly. Attraction should be there, but it shouldn't be a hunt. It shouldn't be a game. Why should it be that way? So I think when you're out there being single and trying to find someone, are you really out scoping out, you know, places to meet people, or are you being present to what's going on? Because you might meet them at the grocery store or at a swimming pool, or you just don't know. So why not make that meetup or that Match.com everywhere in your life versus just in this, you know, website world?
You know, because so many times we're single, we're like, oh, we need to go to the bar. We need to go to, you know, where do all the singles go? Rather than just being open-minded and just being, you know what, I'm just going to let that person show up for me when it's time. And just go about your day, like you said, right? Like so many women, I just want that serendipity moment, you know? But that only happens when you're open to receive it. When you're not open to receive it, that's not going to happen.
Yes.
At all.
Yes.
So
I think hunter mode, or that, you know, scoping out and trying to find, it's like you're just focusing on the wrong goal. You know, being fully open and expressive, like you're saying, is really what that's, you know, that's the opportunity to be fully who you are and be expansive instead of that hunter gatherer kind of concept.
So yeah, so getting clear. So like this first segment here is getting clear on what it is that you want, and being happy and content with where you're not content. I really hate that word content, because for me, I can never be content with anything. Like, you know, I never can be. So I hate that word contentment, but just being good and happy and optimistic about where you're at and where you're going. Because if you desire something, if you desire this really awesome, amazing relationship, if you desire, that, you have it. You already have it. You just have to remove the blocks and barriers. That's it. It's really that simple. It's not that hard, because so many men are complicated, and women are complicated.
You're all complicated. Let's call it what it is. That's the joy of life.
Basics, you know, and relationships are practice. But if you cannot, number one, be clear about what your needs are, you're not going to get your needs met. Number two, if you're not clear about voicing your needs, you're not going to get your needs met, because then that's the second thing. So now I know what my needs are, right? Now I know what it is that I want. Now I'm in this relationship, and every single day I'm afraid. Men and women both do this. This is literally like the one pillar of all relationships. From both men and women, it's equal, not being able to voice their needs in the relationship. In my opinion, that's number one.
Well, so, it's fear of being so vulnerable and so open that someone's going to hurt you. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess we have a delay.
My girlfriend posted this online the other day, which I thought was really beautiful. And she posted, a friend of hers, what did he say? He said, the number one gift to a man is her vulnerability. And I just love that, because
everyone gives each other in all aspects.
Yeah, I'm going to change that to both. What we can give each other is our vulnerability. And last night, Paul and I'm not going to go into the situation tonight, but last night, Paul and I had a moment of that. You know, we're in California right now, dealing with family issues and all this, and you know, it's difficult.
You got all the work when you visit family.
Yeah, so we had some things to hash out last night, you know, but being able to be vulnerable in something that I've been putting off discussing with him for some good reasons, but I was letting it eat me up inside, and vice versa. It's that unspoken communication that drives 99% of the relationship. So if you can't voice those needs in a relationship, your relationship isn't going to work.
Yeah, it's essential to take ownership for the way you feel and not project it on others. I feel like it's a rule. I don't necessarily think that's just a relationship. It's all relationships with yourself and others. Is really taking ownership for what you're feeling and why you're feeling it, and allowing yourself to be okay with sharing it. And it's very tough. It's a very tough space, but it's essential. It's essential.
Yeah. And then, you know, and some people, you know, it's like, how do I do that? Like, how, you know, I've got this burning thing. Like for me, it was a big thing that I was keeping inside, you know, and but it's like, so how do you voice that without, you know, because we so many of us want to avoid conflict, you know, because we want to avoid this big blow up match and making our partner upset with us, blah blah blah. But by not doing that, we're making things much worse. And if you bring it up early, you're preventing that big blow up argument, because you're not letting the cup spill over. Last night when I had to talk to Paul, I went into it, you know, first asking him for permission to enter his space. So that's number one, asking for permission instead of just coming and charging at it. So you have to ask for permission first. Then second, hey, I just want you to know, this is how I'm feeling. I take complete ownership for how I'm feeling. I know your perspective may be a little bit different, but this is how I'm feeling right now at the moment, and spilling the beans. And then by doing that, you're not putting your partner in defense mode.
Yeah, and we have to
Go
be
ahead.
very careful. I find it so essential to be very careful when you use the words I and you, especially the word you. When you did this, I felt this is a safer way of doing the I's and you's. But even if you can say it more neutrally and say something in the tone of, wow, when this happened, I felt. Much more impactful. It creates all kinds of space for people to be who they are, and it gives you the gift of expression without building up that brick wall right away for people to, to be open and share. And when we throw the yous out there, it's an automatic gut reaction to deflect, and it's natural, and it's there for a reason. It's emotional protection. But if we can be careful on how we verbalize and how we articulate the way we share, it does create more expansiveness. But it's all about the approach. It really is all about the approach. Keeping people safe is the most important aspect of it.
Yeah. So many times, like, imagine this. We're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. We're all freaking guilty of it. We have this stuff in our brain, and we think that our partners can read our mind. They should know this about us. Or they should know that.
They've known me long enough. They should know how I feel. Did I lose you?
Maintain control, right? So I'm not going to bring it up because they should know that I'm upset. So they need to bring it up. Well, why are you upset? We're waiting for them to ask us why we're upset. Or
the game begins. The game begins. That's the game that we play. I mean, men and women both do that.
Oh yeah.
Because men do the silent treatment when they feel, no offense guys, but when you feel like they're going to do whatever they want to do anyway. I hear that all the time. Or when you actually interact in that space where you're deflecting that information, it shuts us down. We think that we made a connection or that they understand us. But meanwhile, they're building a story of resentment that we did something, and it's very messy. And women do the same thing. They keep on talking and sharing and talking and talking, and they already got it like a while ago. But we're still talking. We're still explaining it. We're still trying to explain our side. So it's really more about silence and vision, like connection, like from heart space, and really giving that opportunity to have that authenticity in relationships. But like you said before, being even single, there's opportunities all over the place to practice this. Relationships with family or friends, it's just so many places to practice it before you're in an intimate relationship.
Oh yeah, like family is the perfect place to
a lot of work there.
Yeah, because we let people. One of the biggest things that I had, I don't really have that problem anymore, but I did, with people taking advantage of me, walking all over me, not really honoring me. And so and I always felt like I had a bunch of like fair weather friends in my life. And then when I would get into a relationship, that same story would just play in my relationship rather than, and so you have to practice that with your friends, and you have to practice that with your family. You've got to be very discerning about what it is that you're going to allow in your life and what you're not, because we teach people how to treat us. And so, and we teach ourselves how we are allowing ourselves to be treated.
Yeah, Teresa put in here, I love what she said. Conversations with authenticity start with an I statement. I love that. I agree. It's very important to recognize that when you're sharing from your experience what you're feeling, it is an I statement. It's not a connective experience yet, because they have their own personal experiences that they're bringing in. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Someone the other day had posted, asked me a question about, well, how do you really honor your needs in a relationship, and your partner in turn doesn't honor your needs in the relationship? So then you get lost. So that was pretty much essentially the question there. And so what she was concerned with was I think she's a stay-at-home mom, and her husband works, so she's at home all day long with the kids, and and being a stay-at-home mom is difficult. It's not an easy job. I think
and it's a very intense opportunity.
Going to work a 9 to 5 is so much easier than being a stay-at-home mom, right? You've got a lot of things to juggle, and then the husband.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And goes to work, and then he comes home, and he, I'm tired, and when she's trying to explain to him, okay, I need help with the kids, and he comes home from work and is like, well, I'm tired, I've been working all day, and then he wants to go hang out with his friends, and then again leaves her at home with the kids, and she says, I brought this up to him several times, and he doesn't listen to
me. There's a lot there. When I work with couples, a lot of this is quite often when a man works full-time and the woman is at home full-time, he thinks she's sitting around, or the woman thinks that because he gets to go off at work, he gets to have all kinds of adult connection. So there's both sides to that. They're accurate, and there are both sides that are not accurate. Like, obviously a woman is not sitting at home eating bonbons in front of the TV. There's so much to do nowadays. And most women, I think even when they're at home, they're running, other businesses. So it's like it's not truly transparent. It's not that simple, but giving each other tag team opportunities to have, date night or girls night out, guys night out, and to create that space when you're raising children is essentially to self-care. I mean, you cannot be the endless bucket of, dump for everybody to dump on you. I don't care if you do work a full-time job or not, it doesn't matter. They're both needing individual time as well as connected time. It's a hard dance for sure.
Yeah, there, and I agree with you. There is a lot in that. But but what we talked about just before, those I and you statements, when you're walking in, like, look, honey, I understand that you were working hard during the day, but I am too. And right now, this is what I need in order to connect with you and the kids. So there's so many things to be able to have like a really good conversation, because when I heard that initially, I'm envisioning this fight of I'm tired and you're not doing this and you're not doing this, and more than likely that's the conversation that's happening, and that's why there's nothing's being accomplished, because there's constantly I need this, 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 and there's no conversation on really what is the core of what's going on here, what's really happening here.
Right, and true resentment has already been established. There's already a belief system that someone's taking more than the other. So that's really the beginning of a lot of arguments, because there is no balance. Nobody's meeting anybody in the middle. It's completely at a intense space where people literally don't know how to ask for support, or if they ask for support and they don't get it, they feel like they were, I don't know if I want to say the word of, just kind of run over, or the way we ask or how we approach people. Like you said, the word I versus you never help me out around the house. It's a great one, right? You never do what you say you're going to do. You never follow through, whatever. It's more like, when I ask you to help me, I noticed, or I like to say when I'm in those situations, I always say, I'm having a really interesting experience. I always put it on me. When I go and try to like do something, I feel like it's undone again instantly. So I'm not sure why that's happening. When you give the person an opportunity to express what's going on for them too, it creates a better understanding, and there's not as much confrontation. But it is hard when there is, already resentment established. It does take more effort.
Yeah, most definitely. And one thing I posted today on Facebook, I posted a 12 mistakes that I can't remember what the name of the thing was, but pretty much things that we do in a relationship that we think are healthy, but they really aren't.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, and the first thing on there was the relationship scoreboard, because so many of us
keep in tally.
scoreboard. I did this and my partner is not doing this. So in your head,
You get
you're
into
at the scale, and the scale is always going to be off balance, because if your partner does more than you feel like you have to raise the bar and do so. This is never like a balanced scale, right? So having that scoreboard in a relationship is never going to get any of your needs met in the relationship, because you're going to constantly, you're making your relationship a competition rather than
it's a tit for tat. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's,
Yeah.
you know, so if you have the relationship scoreboard, get it out of there, because it's not, it doesn't work that way. I've been in relationships like that, and believe me, it does not work.
I think we've all experienced them for sure. I mean, there is definitely, I remember even in my marriage, I remember there was like, you know, just, okay, he does that, I do this. If he doesn't do that, then I'm like, okay, well, I feel like I'm the maid. What happened? You know, and it's like, that's just never a healthy space. It's never good to have attachments to what you do. I think the scoreboard's all, for me, it's all about, or what I've seen in the past is, it's about tit for tat or keeping track of, it's just attachments. It's all these little underlining attachments. If he does this, he loves me. Or if she does this, she loves me. It's not true. You know, it's not true at all.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you guys have any questions, because we're about to wrap up a little bit, I've got a rehearsal dinner that I need to make in about 15 minutes. So
Doesn't she look beautiful? Look at her glammed out.
What?
The girl glammed out.
Right? Gosh. Yeah, so if you guys do have any questions, definitely ask the questions. We're going to be on for about another 5 minutes, but we definitely want to, you know, we do want to invite you guys on Monday. We're going to be doing an online workshop. It'll be a live workshop. It's going to be at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. And if you guys are interested in, you know, this is obviously just one topic. There's so many aspects of relationships, and for me, really my drive in this world is to really teach people the right way to love and get rid of all of those old beliefs that aren't serving us anymore, so we can connect deeper with ourselves, so we can connect deeper with other people, so we can have amazing relationships, not only our romantic relationships, but our personal relationships, our work relationships, every relationship, because our relationships with others help us to create a really awesome, epic life. And for me, I lived so long in a space where I just woke up every day. It was just like a robot, you know. I just felt like every day I woke up and I just hopped from my bed to the rat wheel, you know, just every single day going on this wheel of monotony. And going back to bed, and it was miserable, you know. And then it was great to like now have this more awakened space where I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much to life. Then waking up, taking care of the kids, going to work, eating dinner, going to the gym, and going back to bed and doing the same thing over and over and over. And life, when you're living very connected, not to yourself, of course, but being able to use that power to connect in deeply with others, it changes your life forever. It really, truly does.
It does. Then for me, it's learning the art of communication, how to put your true, authentic self out there in a way that people can receive and connect to you. Otherwise, you throw out the opposite of who you are. Having a lot of misunderstandings and having a lot of struggles with people really tensions are. And you end up having mirrored back at you your true thoughts of the way you feel inside. It's about learning the art of communication along with understanding your core truths and how you truly feel, and really doing that perfectly. A lot of beautiful work.
Yeah, and there's so many, there's just, but you know, like I've said before, there's a lot of information out there that it's not good information. It's honestly, it's pretty crappy information. I'm not gonna lie, it really is, because I'm going into a new
how to catch your man, keep him.
Right. So I'm having to go in and look at other people who are in this shared space of ours, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is the information that's being fed out there, and people like one of the biggest things is there's all this dating advice out there. There's all this communication, right? The communication advice, all this stuff. Like we said, catch them and keep them. All these like weird things out there. But if we don't know why we are continually having these habits, these perpetual habits in our life, if we don't know why we keep people an arm's length away, if we don't know why we can't voice our needs, and no matter when we try, when we open our mouth, it's just silent. If we don't know why we do that, things aren't going to change. You know, and it's like, and so doing these Facebook Lives, they're great, and we love doing them. We love giving you guys this information, but it's not deep enough to give you the information for you to actually change.
Shift your world.
Right? So we definitely want to invite you to do can't speak right now, to do this workshop with us on Monday, because you will be able to go in a little bit deeper in a more private and contained setting to help you, give you that breakthrough that you have been looking for your whole life, so you can connect deeper with others and have a more amazing relationship. So definitely, if you guys are interested in that workshop, comment below on the on this video, and we'll private message you the link, or you can private message either myself or Tamara, and we will be glad to answer your questions on how the workshop works, or whatever, and send you the link. But we'd love to have you there. We really would love to have you there, because they're very insightful. They're very insightful.
Yeah, it's a deep dive, one issue. We really get a chance to really break down why the experience is happening. It's your true voice. It's the opportunity for you to have a voice around something that you really want to shift. It's only 2 hours though, so be prepared.
Be prepared. But it's nice because, we can come on here and teach you guys how to, how to attract your soulmate and how to do all this, which, there are ways to do that, but it starts with getting to know yourself, plain and simple, right? I told someone the other day, I can give you all of the dating advice, every single trick in my book. I can give you my laptop. You can go through it all you want and steal everything that I have. But unless you get clear on yourself, you're not going to have any of that. One of the relationship coaches that helps singles, her thing is attract your soulmate in 21 days. I'm not yeah, right? That's a pretty big promise, right?
That's interesting.
If you've been working, most of my clients are in their 40s. So if you are working on this problem for 44 years, 45 years, and you haven't mastered that yet, guess what? You're not going to get that in 21 days. And there's something about yourself that you need to get really clear with, so you can give that gift of vulnerability to somebody else. It's a true gift. And so we would love to have you there.
I also sometimes wonder, when we make promises that seem unreal, like, being able to change your life. There are certain pieces you can absolutely do in 21 days, but are you going to stick it? I mean, are you going to really be able to embody all that you've learned in 21 days? Because it's all coming at you so fast, and you're in pieces of you. Sometimes those come in layers, and it takes time to evolve through that journey. So it's definitely a lot to that. But, there's 21 days is pretty fast to find a mate in 21 days.
That's crazy. Have you ever read that book? I'm just going to close out with this book. Have you ever read that book, Change or Die?
No.
Okay. It's an amazing book. It's an amazing book. If any of you guys haven't read the book, go read that book. I think it's Alan Duchman or something like that who wrote the book. And people would rather die than change their
ways. And yeah, that's true. Flat out.
You'll see people, and he wrote he had a story in there about his father-in-law who had heart disease, had major open heart surgery, and was told he had to change his habits or he was going to die. And so, you know, for about 3 or 4 months, he changed his habits. And then 4 months later, he went back to his old habits. And, you know, within I think within a year or 9 months or something like that, he died. He would rather die than change, right? And it's, yeah, those habits that we've been carrying on forever, they're not going to happen in 21 days. And I wish more than anything in the world I can promise you is going to happen in 21 days. But we also don't want to slap a Band-Aid on stuff. You either want to live a good life or you live
That's where I get nervous.
and I prefer a really good life. So if you're looking to live a good life, join us on that workshop because we'll help you get there. And it's free. There's no charge to that workshop. So there's no risk except, you know, donating 2 hours of your time to your personal growth and development.
And I want to say, I know you are in a relationship. I have just ended a relationship, and I've been alone for quite a while now. I shouldn't say just ended. Living a good life is not whether you're in a relationship or not. It's being your best self. But a relationship does accentuate, and it adds flavor and value to your life. So it's about both. It's about being in a state of both and enjoying all aspects of your life. So absolutely, it's a fabulous book. I'm definitely going to grab it.
Yeah, it's a really, really good book. I recommend it. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good read. I love it. Well, thank you so much, sweetheart, for squeezing some time for us in here between events, and have a great time at the wedding. And looking forward to seeing all of you on the workshop. It'll be great.
Yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you guys on Monday. So again, private message us or comment on the link below, and we'll private message you the link. And 6:30 p.m. on Monday, we will see you guys there. Thank you so much.
Blessings. Bye.